Now I am introducing this new thing called 3S, which stands for signals that I'm seeing, secrets that I know, and systems that I want you or I'm going to share with all of you that you need to build to cover for these secrets or leverage the secrets. So that's the framework. My goal today is to put you where the landscape of agentic AI is in 2026, second half. If you're building apps with agents, then maybe Claude Code is not enough. That's the secret. Here is the agenda. Three signals I want to land today to give you a clear picture of where we stand with agentic AI. What are the challenges in shipping agentic AI stuff? What is the challenge in getting production ROI? Where I see all the agentic frameworks are broken, and I will also share systems or labs, resources for you to go follow up, and I will walk you through them. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Anybody? Nobody responds to how are you these days? Good.
We are good, Mahesh. How
Jared,
about you?
Karen, thank you, Michael. Thank Harleen. At least I see some familiar faces, some new ones. Uh, good morning. My name is Mahesh, and let's get started. Today, I thought maybe I get you all together and share this new framework that I am iterating to share knowledge, which is, I think, 3S. I am going to master everything within like three things and three things and three characters. So we did HHH, helpful, honest, and harmless way to evaluate agents. And now I am introducing this new thing called 3S, which stands for signals that I'm seeing, secrets that I know, and systems that I want you or I'm going to share with all of you that you need to build to cover for these secrets or leverage the secrets. So that's the framework for that I will follow today, uh, all along in this talk. Okay. So what are the three things? My goal today is to put you where the landscape of agentic AI is in 2026, second half, and then in three sections, I want to land secrets about how coding is working and when it is not working and how to fix it. Uh, what does that even mean to build products in 2026? What are the signals, secrets, and systems there? And the last thing is if you're if you're building apps with agents, then maybe Claude Code is not enough. That's the secret. Spoiler alert. And how to cover that with new things. So that's the last thing. With that said, let's get started. 45 minutes, three sections, 15 minutes each. After each section, I give you 5 minutes for Q&A. And hopefully in the end, I stay back and take more questions. That's the deal. And without further ado, let's get started. All of you can see my screen. I can see all your pretty faces, I believe. And if you can see my screen, then you're looking at our 192nd session, which is going to be, we're getting to 200, close to 200 session. If you don't know me, my name is Mahesh. My claim to fame is that I have worked on all big tech companies. I build models. I build frameworks to build large models at PyTorch in Facebook. Uh, Last I worked in Google, but before that, this was the Facebook thing. Then I went to AWS and worked on Bedrock and created the first framework to build agents. And then I went to GCP to build agents for the world. And GCP, like using the frameworks that GCP was trying to build at that time to build the first agents and ship it to production. That's what I did at Google. And then I left Google. And now I'm here talking to you. That's pretty much all I do. Not really, but I also started my own company. And last only yesterday, I was in Denver helping a HVAC company to build agents and how to revamp or reimagine their company with AI. So that's the job I'm doing. I'm trying to diffuse the benefits of these agents or agentic frameworks to companies which don't have access to talent, and kind of confused on how to bring AI or benefits of AI to their companies. So that's me. Uh, and I've spent a lot of time in Microsoft also, teaching for a long time. I love to just share my knowledge. I have taught in schools to students about AP computer science, and I have launched courses, and I'm teaching this course on Maven for, I think, the longest running course at this point with a single instructor. So uh, that's me. And if you want to connect with me, that's the code. If you scan this code, it will take you to my LinkedIn. And if you send me an invite, I will accept that invite. That's pretty much about me. What I need from you. I need cameras on. So now Anirban is here, and I know Anirban personally, and I met him because I was talking to him about Procure last time, uh, and trying to get COI in Procure, those agents, because I also help property management companies to get on AI. So that's the number one request I have for this session. Second request I have is, if you have questions, put them in chat. My team will continue to look at them, and I will take them during the session, but I will not take them before I stop. So I have things to land, and then I will take questions. I will take 2 or 3 questions only, but then I will move on, and I will take most of the questions in the end. Okay, those are the rules. Here is the agenda. 3 signals I want to land today to give you a clear picture of where we stand with agentic AI. One is, how are things moving from model to harness? What are the challenges with vibe coded apps? And how to build AI native apps or products. Those are the signals that I'm trying to land. All along these signals, I will land secrets. What are the challenges in shipping agentic AI stuff? What is the challenge in getting production ROI? And where I see all the agentic frameworks are broken, and one which is trying to fix all of it, or at least close enough. And I will share how to use that framework. I will also share systems or labs, resources for you to go follow up, and I will walk you through them and make you familiar with them. One is like how to use MCP and skills to actually go and build applications in 2026. Second is, I will try to walk you through how to go from vibe to spec-based coding. And last is, I will introduce you to this AI building framework called AI Foundry in Azure. And I will walk you through and give you enough resources so that you can build and scale these. Good. So by end of this session, you will know where we stand. You will know a lot of challenges in each stage, or whatever the cool things in AI today are. And then hopefully you will have some systems or work in progress systems that you can continue to iterate beyond this session also on your own, so that you can show or use the benefits of AI or diffuse the benefits of AI in whatever company you want to work with, or in your own personal lives. Okay. I know today is a loaded session, by the way. So there is a lot I want to cover today. So expect a lot of high level views, but enough information for you to follow up and become an agentic AI PM and have a lot of signals, understanding of secrets, and a way to get to systems. Good. With that said, let's get started. Most of things happen in these sessions on board. So if you don't follow me on board, then if you can't look at your screen, you will have a real challenge in these sessions. So let's get to it. Okay, first step, first secret or signal we want to land. Community, give me tech, refresh. Perfect. And great. Okay, the first signal that we want to talk about today is, how are how are things moving from, let me move this here. It's a little easier that way, and I can see you here. So that, okay, all set now. Now I can see you, you can see me, and I have my notes here so that I don't forget anything. Great. Okay, forget this SSS thing. Who wants to do that? Okay, first thing is, we are moving in 2026, most of the things that you're building today are moving from model to harness. What does that mean? What's a model? Give me an example.
Opus ChatGPT.
Great. Opus and ChatGPT, oh man, you were correct and then you were not correct. Opus is a model, ChatGPT
GPT.
is a
I mean
GPT.
GPT 5.4.
great. GPT 5.6, 5.8, all these are models. Can somebody give me an open source model also?
Claude,
One.
Great. Claude is an open source model. Great. I'm so
DeepSeek
proud of all
V1.
of you.
Used to
Great.
be Olama.
Nobody uses
Nemotron.
them, huh? Only
initiative.
investors are
Yeah,
only investors are crazy about models, open source models. People are still Opus,
Gemini.
ChatGPT, GPT, Gemini. Great,
Gemma.
Yeah,
Gemini is open
Gemma
source.
4 is coming.
Gemma
Nemotron.
1.3.
Gemma.
Great.
Me
Gemma
and
4040.
Nemotron,
Mahit
GLM
is an
5.2,
open source one.
Target.
right?
Wait,
Hemi,
Minimax 2.5.
Gemma.
Mimilax,
Let's get some Mistral.
Jamma. My Google just said 950 million downloads in their reporting, right? So this is all open source models. What is the difference between closed source and open source models?
Wait, before we continue, are they open source or are they open weight? I think that's important.
Oh wow, that's nice. Now like people are showing off as well, right? Okay, before we go and agreed. We can discuss that. But before we go and discuss open weights or open source, but first tell me today, I want to stay a little bit ahead or above. But obviously you can do a quick search and find that out, and I can tell you. But real quick, what is the difference between closed source and open source? Anyone?
the
Closed
weights
source, we
We
don't know the
host open source
parameters.
models on our infra.
Okay, let's have a rule, right? Because so all of you are so much. If
Free to
somebody
use.
leads it, let them talk. Okay. If you are the first one, then you can continue talking. But if somebody is talking, let's not interrupt. I'm trying to see if we can make it interactive without setting like hands, because then it will be boring and I can't land anything in 40 minutes. Okay. So again, closed source. What is closed source models? What is the difference between closed source and open source? One main difference. Anyone?
We don't have access to the weights and biases in closed source.
Great. So I can't see in closed source model, I cannot see how the model was trained, what technique they
Yeah,
use. I cannot get the final weights and biases or data
right.
or their techniques, right?
Mhm.
Great. So now we have models, and all of you are super cool on models. Let's do a quick test on your model understanding on harnesses. Okay, give me example of harness. What is a harness? Anyone? So model I understand, and let's say model sits here, and I want to build an app that allows legal or lawyers
Additional
to do
support
their
to
job.
models.
Sorry,
it
what
can
is a
be
Framework
harness?
for
to run models and agents.
Sorry,
Framework
keep
to
Motion.
going.
run models and agents.
So a harness is a framework to run model and agents. So then N8N is a harness. N8N,
Actually,
AI
Mahesh, I think
Foundry,
harness depends. I think
They,
that
they are the
for
tools to
me,
build one.
harness is an umbrella word. It's not
harness is an
one thing.
umbrella word.
It's
It's
a
not one
different set
thing.
of things, right? Yeah, that's how I see it. I mean, for me, Pydantic AI is also a harness because I'm trying to build agentic systems on the, around the model using certain frameworks, right? So some harnesses are like they help you build something customized, and some are something
They're
like
like
I don't know,
most of the people in the
Copilot,
call, I
GitHub
can
Copilot.
see on their faces now. Most of the people are in the call and thinking that we came in the call and seems like it's a test. Okay, why is not he teaching? We signed up, but this is what you get in free. I teach in like paid classes. Teachers. Okay, what's the harness again? Again, I get it. And Anaton is not harness. Steve, go ahead. Open source workflow automation software are not harnesses. I agree with it. These are the things that you use to build and harness, and model is part of the harness. What are the other things I need to put if I need to build an harness, which basically allows lawyers to have a paralegal or an legal assistant, right? Let's say this is what I want to ship as a product.
Would
And
those be
what
guardrails and knowledge base?
Memory safeguard.
App wrappers.
guardrails, I need to do context management, which is then
Memory.
company specific. So I will add knowledge. Knowledge means what are the cases, what are the contracts in that company. I will add memory of who did what, how this lawyer behaves, how this organization behave, how you have interacted with me in past. All that will get into memory. Anything else?
Observability.
I think
Tools.
tools.
Great. I can need to take action. So I will add tools which will allow me to access laws, go to internet, do search, go to some databases like Thomson Router database or case text database and do research on those. So I can have tools, I can have knowledge, memory, and guardrails. And harness is nothing which allows you to manage these things beyond the model, like how to extract the right knowledge, how to get the right memory, how to store and retrieve, how to store and retrieve from knowledge, which tools to call, how to create a plan given a user query, how to manage context, how to do evaluations, and then run a long horizon job again and again unless I achieve my goal. Right? So that's the job of the harness. So model job is to learn everything out there in the world and prove on benchmark that it can go and solve problems or call tools or the capability to do planning. Harness job is testing this, the ability for it to go and given a knowledge. Let's mute everyone. I think there's a background sound which is bothering me now. And there are superpowers Mahesh has. I say mute everyone, everybody mute it. Great. Harness, the job of harness is based on a specific persona, ideally, or coding agent will create plans for coding, build context to solve a problem. It does evaluation if the problem is solved, and if it is not solved, keep on going on and on unless the problem is solved. So if that's the harness, how will you measure the quality of the harness?
Feedback from the user.
Evals.
These are the PMs. They the only thing they know is how to measure quality of it. I will talk to the user.
Hey,
Great.
Vance.
Great. So if I want to
Test
do
cases.
quality of harness, yes, I need to do evals. But in those evals, what am I checking? I am checking
Maybe
how good the
hallucination.
agent is making plans or running long horizon jobs. What are long horizon jobs? Because if it's the harness, it's solving a problem, right? So given a problem, I will give it a contract and I will say, hey, in this contract, give me all the risks that I need to worry about if I sign this contract, right? If I give it a job, then I will check its capability to make correct plans, right? Which will involve maybe 5 or 7 steps. That's the quality of the harness. The model can create plans, but once I ship you a harness, if I can create better plans to solve or find these risks, then my harness is better than yours, right? Second, I gave you one, right? Now we are playing. At least I'm not asking all the questions. I'm giving you one. Rest, you do something like half and half at least. No, you don't want to play.
The iterations maybe to meet the checklist.
Great. The second is I am going to build the context and the quality of how good I am in building context. What does that mean? That means I need to span across all your contracts and find only relevant pages. I might need some policy from your documents, how you go and find risks inside your company. I might need previous information from memory on what you told me about you and the risks that you worry about and risks that you don't care about. I need to fetch that information, right? So I need to build this context. Without this context, so I need to have a plan and I need to have a context building capabilities. Same page? So I'm going to check my qualities on that. So the world is moving from model to harness. The harness has plan context. And then I need to have a way to evaluate Have I accomplished the goal, which is giving right risks in the right format? And how good I am in evaluating my results or running tests. And then I can go on this loop and I can plan again and I can build the next context. So these are the three things I will go broadly and measure my harness on. Good. So now in 2026, most of the products that you are touching, most of the things that are people shipping to you are harness based and not model based. So give me an example of a harness, a product with the awesome harness.
Claude Code.
Great. So now Claude Code, Anthropic said we cannot make a lot of money on models. So they created a harness and they said this harness will do planning to write code or refactor code or test code, right? So all the coding life cycle, for that they created a harness which can create better plans, build context from your code bases, does evaluations and ship. And they are now, I think, 23 or $47 billion in revenue. And out of that, I think 50-60% is coming from Claude Code or the harness. The Cowork Claude Code licenses is the largest revenue stream for Anthropic. Why? Because we are shipping harness. Great. Any other example of harness? Please don't say Codex, anti-gravity. Give me another one.
Gum loop.
AI Foundry.
Harvey.
AI Foundry.
OpenClaw.
Okay, great. Now, every name that comes to your mind, Harvey. Okay, great. So most of the companies I was checking yesterday who have made money have actually started building or giving you a way to build harness or shipping a company, which is like Harvey at 300 million revenue. They are saying, I am giving you the harness. You can take it as a law firm and now you can do your jobs and you need not to worry about planning, context building or evaluations. I will do it for you. Good. Okay, then. Now you understand the first thing, which is the signal, which is model to harness is the journey. And more people are moving or building harness or shipping you a harness. What is not working in the harness? Any secrets? So that is our signal. First signal today. Signal one. Now let's talk about the secrets. You have played with these harnesses.
Loop.
What is not working?
Loop.
Loop is not working. Great. So learning loops are not there beyond coding. So in coding, this loop work very well, which is I build context, I write code, then I can compile the code, or I can test it by putting it on some server and checking if this button does what it does or all that. If I test fails, then I can go and quickly go and create a new plan and keep going on this, right? But if you go and start applying this loop to marketing or product management, I say write a PID, right? So yeah, it can create a plan for writing a PID. It can generate context from internet and it can write PID. But this step is broken. There is no compiler for PIDs. Even the best PIDs people throw away. Like your manager will say, this is a great PID. You go to your skip manager and they say, this is the worst PID I have ever seen. Right? So now how to put those iterations or learning loops inside the company. So then it becomes context specific that your PID is better than my PID because it has learned how your company views PIDs, your company format, your customer insights, your business insights, and everybody is very different. And these harnesses today, at least out of box, don't have a way to do continuous learning loops inside the harness. They kind of trying to give you, try to fake it with learning loops or harness or some kind of crap that they are throwing at you. But behind the scenes, none of that is proven or working. And there is a lot of energy or effort you need to put it if you want any harness to work for you beyond code also. Like, I think, harness. Yes. So learning loops. Anything else that's not working? I'm just looking at triggers that you give me and then I take on that and then I never come back and we never finish this session. Hermes was that. So I'm trying to avoid. Suppress, Mahesh. Okay, learning loops. Great job. Anything else? Any other secret that you know and I don't know?
It is not stateless in the sense we got to make it stateful.
Wow, Ranjan, everybody got what you said. Stateless and stateful. Great. So stateless and stateful. Let me load my all engineering.
or verifier, explainer or verifier.
Okay. The next one, I give you a hint. The context, right? We looked at long horizon jobs. Long horizon jobs are the jobs that you give it to the model, this loop, and how long, time wise, you can go and run these jobs. And what happens in these harnesses is the moment you give them simple tasks like, review this PRD and all, but if you give them complex tasks, which is go do a market research and find me best opportunities that I can go and land in next 3 months or reorient my company. This is a there's a lot of gaps to be filled. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of iterations that you need to go and do. If you give this job to somebody, it might take a month for them to go do it. If you want the model to do it, if you want to run these long horizon jobs, which can go on and on for at least hour or days, these models have a really hard time building this context and iterate on these context. And there are a lot of problems they get into, like irrelevant context, context poisoning, context alignment. And because of that, the harness capability to run any good job or do high cognitive jobs is very limited. So that's the other secret you will see when you start doing or using these harnesses. Same with Claude Code, same with Cowork, same with Harvey. They do basic things really good. But if you give them longer horizon jobs, then context doesn't work very well. Anything else?
They skip some
Verifier.
planning steps, or they skip some
Learning
planning
loops.
steps.
They skip some. So the quality to create good plans is also limited. But I will also put it this way that ROI from these harnesses, they take a lot of tokens, they cost a lot of money. But when you look at what actually they produced, removing the human is not very proven or not easy to prove today. And a lot of people are struggling today that, hey, I take the harness and I paid it a lot of dollars and it produced this work, this risks in the contract, but I also spent 3 hours working with this. And sometimes I spent 12 hours. And sometimes I could have done it the whole thing in 2 hours versus 12 hours that I gave it. And somebody gives 12 hours, they create a skill, but then somebody goes and uses that and nobody can trust it. So finding ROI and the quality of planning is also a challenge. Right? So these are the three buckets you will see once you try to diffuse the benefits of these harnesses inside your company, proving ROI, giving your company and managing your company context to actually get high order or good jobs that you really want to give it to them. Your context management needs to happen outside these harnesses, or you need to come in and help them. And last is you need to build learning loops. A job that you provide may not be working. Great. Then what is the system you want to build so that you can play in this new world where you can imagine there will be a harness like Claude or Copilot or Codex or anti-gravity that already exist. You still want to sell to enterprise, right? So this is already there. Then how are you going to sell things, or what you need to go build? You need to build your services as MCP servers and skills. Everything any company needs can be solved with these two things. Either you're building a skill on top of Claude Cowork that goes and solves that, and this skill is trained with to provide the right context. The skill has learning loops, and the skill has a plan, the capability to go plan, and some kind of easy way to find ROI. Right? But the skill is just what? What is a skill? Anybody knows what skill is? No?
A set of
Everybody?
predefined instructions.
Great. Now Rahul started speaking. Rahul is one of our mentors. So Rahul, you're not supposed to speak. It's their test. Rahul is instructor now. The instructors are chiming in. They're like, okay, I won't degrade the quality of these my students. I have to come in. Okay, great. Okay, great. So skills is nothing but a new way to say prompts. So what you had a prompt, if you iterate on a prompt enough on a specific job, let's say finding risk in a contract, then you can store that thing that you have iterated many times to produce a high quality thing. Then you can store that as a skill. And then every time anybody says find risk in a contract, that prompt, that skill will be called. Earlier with models, you have to create a prompt library and all. That prompt library is now skills. So that's pretty much it. So if skills is just prompts, then how are you going to do better context management with skills? Because this will require you to fetch some proprietary IP, some knowledge graph, something that you have created for that company, right? So how are you going to ship that? Because that's not here, right? So let's say you created a knowledge graph or some kind of a graph which manages their company information, shows all the connections, and you are retrieving those connections every time there is context needs to be built by the harness. You want to supplement it with your graph of the company, which harness doesn't have. Then how can you ship that in the product?
MCP.
Great. Then you can have an MCP server. The MCP server, behind that, you can create your graph nodes that, hey, these are the contracts, these are the cases in United States, these are the main risks in MSA contracts, these are the main risks in NDA contracts. So you can create all these nodes, connect them, and then provide an API that if somebody says that your skill will call into this, and now this skill will first fetch the graph, and then you give that graph to build the context. So now you have an IP, right? What is your IP here? Is skill your IP?
Knowledge is the IP.
The graph is the
Whatever
IP, right? But
Yeah.
you don't want to give the graph away. So what you give is you give an API, you say, you send me the query, I will give you the graph. Some graph node or some graph insights. And now without this graph insight, this context doesn't work. With the graph insight, it starts working. Or it reduces the number of tokens or number of times that you need to go iterate to solve this problem. So now you have an IP. Make sense? So this is where the world is. So today, if you want to build apps, you need to understand how we have moved models to harness. You need to understand MCP servers. You need to understand how to build skills and MCP servers to add value on top of these. So now, if these guys continue to grow and take more and more and say, now I can do this, now I can do design, now I can do connection to Slack and everything. I have a dispatcher now. Oh, now I have a managed agents. Then great. The more you can come on top of them and add value through skills and MCP servers. And the customers already have some version of this already because there is a lot of FOMO. So you can go in and you can start offering these as services. And if you can add value through this, then you can say, any of this is my problem and I will give you MCP server and skills. And then the customer can just worry about their KPIs, and you can still add value and you can still live and still have a job and still continue to iterate, because the world is not a solved problem. Every time we solve one problem, we create more problems. And for those more problems, we can have more solutions. So now, because I have 10 minutes more, I think all of us, let's take two questions, and then I want to give you more systems, or at least give you resources on the other side, which is what are the other secrets? Like people are saying coding is a solved problem. Then I want to walk you through what is not working in coding, and I can go little fast there if you and me are same page, and I will tell you what is not working in coding, and then I will give you a lab or walk you through a lab on how I think we can make coding working or solve those secrets. like we solved with this MCP server and skills. And then if you want to build AI specific apps, then what is not working? And then how can you solve that? Okay. So let's take two questions. And then if I can walk you through, then I can stay back for more questions. Sounds like a plan? I have a deck. Means that deck is always my fallback because the board is like a board can go for 2 hours. Or if you want, I can continue doing this whole thing on board, but then the session is 90 minutes. You can decide. I will take a few questions and then you tell me.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Mahesh, for another insightful session. So
It's
based
not
on
done
what
yet.
I know, I understand that part.
Kidding. Go ahead.
So, based on what we have discussed today, I have just two quick questions. So, the definition of harness which you have shared, according to that, cursor and emergent, both are then harness products as well. Is that a
Correct.
correct understanding?
Correct.
And
Yes.
if it
Cursor
is
is a
correct,
harness for building
for
building
building
code.
code, and then emergent is also a like vibe coding tool, but it is a harness. It's a harness
Correct.
product.
Correct.
So
Lovable is a
based on
harness.
that,
Emergent
can
in
you,
India is a
sure,
harness. Yes.
yeah. So can you give me one example of a harness product in physical AI or robotics, which is which is revenue generating? I would love to hear that.
Oh wow! Then now it's like a quiz for Mahesh.
No,
So
it's
one
not
of my
quiz. I work in physical AI and robotics, and
yes,
I do
yes.
have
So
product background as well.
my
So I'm
friend has
just trying
built.
to understand better.
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at everybody's trying to build this humanoid, which Tesla is invested in, and one of my friend Dick has built this company called Dexterity. What they have built is they have built these robots, which goes on a job, and you install a camera, and they can see how humans are doing their job. Then it breaks it down, and then they have a robot which goes and does that specific very small job, and they have just deployed this in McDonald's, where they're just the robot with the dexterity. The idea is that they have built dexterity skills, which is like they're trying to see the precision of how much human precision. Like I can do this. Robots has a very hard time doing what I'm doing here, which is I'm not hurting my fingers, but I'm able to touch them good enough to generate heat, right? So this kind of dexterity doesn't exist in physical AI today, and they are trying to solve that problem. And the application of that they are able to find in McDonald's, where they are able to put a camera, see how this person is frying the French fries, and now their robot does the job. So the future of McDonald's back kitchen is bunch of dexterity robots which are able to take fries and put them in the fryer and then take them out, put them in your uh, envelope and give it to you.
So
And
Mahesh, if
that
tomorrow you have to build a robot, would you use a open source or a closed source model for that? What
this
would
is
be the best?
again like it looks like an interview, but
No. So I'm just trying to understand
great,
your
great.
perspective better here.
No, I think like so there is advantage, disadvantage. I will start with the closed source model and I will try to see if the problem is already solved. And if it is not solved, I will try to improve the closed source model first based on my data because there are already tools. And I personally believe the quality, especially in a new space like physical AI, which is not a solved problem, I think a closed source company will do a good job than an open source company. So I will go with the closed source company for first iterations. And if on evaluations everything fails and it just breaks left and right, then I will have to go and pick up an open source model and then tweak it because then I need a much lower fidelity of tweaking. And at that stage, I will switch to open source, but I will try to solve it with closed source if can be solved first.
Thank you so much.
So I will do both, but different stages and on different triggers.
Thanks.
Okay, one more question.
So just like there are clear winners in building of the agents such as Landgraph and Crew, and somebody also spoke of Pydantic, compared to that, there is much more noise in tools for building harness. What will be your top recommendations, especially on the open source side of it?
Great. Yeah, so I think open source, yeah, again, you put another wrench into that in the end. I was trying to say I got it, but then I'm like, okay. I think if you say open source, I don't know what does open source means, but you're saying not tying to a particular cloud provider or somebody. So in cloud providers, my recommendation is AI Foundry. I'm going to talk about that today, hopefully show you show you how it solves you building the harness problem or build it. I think they are ahead. I think they have done a good job. AWS Bedrock is the second closest, and Agent Builder in GCP is the third. So that's my ranking of people. We are not open source. I think LangGraph with Langsmith in open source is the most closest to AI Foundry. So that's my take there, Shobit.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, great. Shobit was kind
Can I
enough
ask a
to.
quick question on on the harness? Like, when would you want to build a custom one yourself? And right, most of the time you would want to use an existing one like Claude Code or something, right?
Yeah.
So under what circumstances would you want to build a custom one?
Yeah. So I think when you go to enterprises, right, then what you want to see is the enterprise use cases are very different. And if the co-work is a good one, but you want to use, so it's like the question is, let's reframe the question, which is when do you want to use the co-work or Claude Code, and when you want to go lower layer to APIs and remove the interface of co-work, right? But there is no going back to APIs only. So Steve is like, bless you. Okay, great. Uh, so if that's the question, then what you want to see is if you really need a very custom UX for the customer. Like for an example, one of our customers wanted everything by email. So they said, hey, we want to replace a human in this loop. So I will give you an email address. And what you have to do is we'll send you this contract. You have to do these 21 checks on this contract. Let's say the contract is a certificate of insurance, and I need to make 20 checks on it. And based on those 20 checks, I need to go and respond in an email saying, hey, is it pass or fail? And if it is a pass, then you want to store it in a specific database, and you want to create a dashboard that this property is now has a certificate of insurance. And that is the integration into Yardi, which is their statement of record. Okay. So stop AI companion. No, I don't want to stop AI companion. Let the AI companion run. Okay, great. So in those cases, if you want to use co-work, you have to go and manually trigger this. It cannot be an autonomous agent which replaces the whole job. In that case, you want to go down and create a autonomous agent. In this case, we build a CUI agent for them. We use the Agentic AI SDK, but we build it a working version, which is not co-work, and that works. On the second use case is more like a company had this, they wanted to create a slide. They look at their Snowflake data and they create a weekly review slide with their leadership that fetches all the key metrics from their business trends, and then give insights of why they miss a KPI or what they should do next week to succeed in their KPIs. In that case, they are using Cowork. We connected their Snowflake. We created a few templates. We created a skill, and we will provide them an MCP server if we also need some kind of legacy or some kind of nuances in building that context. But we would need not to build because a human goes and always triggers this, wants to evaluate it and come back and play with it, right? It's not a fully autonomous thing, and it doesn't require a lot of behind the scenes dashboard tracking and accountability and trailing who did what. All those are not needed. So in those cases, I will go with Cowork. But if you need all it to work it like an autonomous agent, then I will build it on top of Agentic SDK only, which is powering Cowork also, by the way. Okay, then let's see what are the other signals, right? So we've gone through quickly, or we spent good amount of time understanding the first one, which is where we are, what is the current state of AI, and what are the secrets or challenges, and what are the systems you need to go build or learn if you still want to ship products in 2026. Okay, then we got these, and I already talked about these. These are few resources. This is my video of explaining what an MCP server is and how to build one. There is a lab also. Here is on skills, and here is how can you use or learn, build on top of Claude and understand these skills. So use these resources to master what is the current state of AI and how to play in it. Good. If you have done that, then let's go and do the next one, which is what are the next signals? The next signal is everybody saying coding is now much easier, almost solved problem. Agree? How many of you agree?
Easier, not
No.
fully solved.
Easier, but not fully solved. I 100% agree. And especially in production, what are the secrets here? That cross-functional coordination on vibe coding stuff is the worst thing that you will ever deal with. That you build a vibe coding tool and somebody says, I want to use it or I want to build on top of it, explaining it for you. You don't know what is there, by the way. It just works and then you want everybody to use it. If somebody wants to contribute to it, nobody want to. And this is not how we build the whole coding companies. We humans are so good because we are coordinators. We work in groups and we work in groups across countries, even planets. That's the next phase. But if you can't make that possible, you cannot survive in production. So cross-functional coordination is broken. Iterations are broken. So if you go and try to fix one bug, it completely rewrites the whole thing. And then it introduces 3 more bugs, but fixes that bug. And you keep on going on. And at some point, it become rogue on you and doesn't want to play. So that's what you will see when you are saying coding is a solved problem. And existing code bases, which are huge, which are on older languages, all that is not working. So what is the secret or what system you need to go solve this coding or make coding super cool?
What's
There,
cross-functional coordination?
cross-functional coordination is that I, as a product manager, went and build an app, but then I want my engineering team to go and build on top of it, not start from scratch again. Or a designer has gone ahead and created a design, but I want to use their design system to build my app, and I don't want that designer to come and keep working with me. So cross-functional coordination is coordination between the designer, engineer, product, test, evaluators, all these are different functions in the team or different people in the team. How can you build code that these all teams can work together on? Good. So how can we go from vibe to spec-based coding? What is spec-based coding? So this is the app we build with vibe-based coding. We show that this app has, it seems like it is working, but then it's broken at 100 places. And then we show you how and how to build a really solid thing that all of people can contribute to, or iterations are better than writing everything from scratch. So first, in this, our recommendation or our systems that you need to go build to make coding work for you or your organization is you take the PRD. First step is you create a design. Then you create a high-level design document. You bid humans to review it. Okay, mute everyone. This is fun again. But then you create a low-level design spec.
Mahesh, somebody's praying to you, it looks.
Yeah, he's like, Mahesh, just move on. Okay. Then you take a high-level design. Once humans have reviewed it, like different teams have reviewed it inside your company, your product team, or your engineering or your design team, then you use or pass that high-level design as an input, and you use Claude to generate a low-level spec. And then you review that spec also with engineers, and then you go and write code. This is a new way of doing coding or building production level coding with spec-based development. Here is an app that I build with that. And here is the repo I want to walk you through quickly that we build. So this is a whole lab that allows you to build Claude code-based, spec-based development. The first step is planning and setting the architecture of the app. Second is building the application. And then we show you how easy it is to iterate on this code to add more security and make it production ready. So highly recommend all of you to go through this lab and build it. And we have shown in the last lab I did or last session I did on how to build this app. So most of these commands you will send in terminal, and end of it, you will have an awesome document section. So the first step is you will take the PRD like this. This was my PRD. I passed this. That created my engineering doc, which is a high level way of how are we going to design this app. Okay. So this is the first step. I created a design system, or I created a design. Then I passed this design in the second skill. And then I created specs on each and every feature that we're going to deal with. And it's much more detailed. It's coding, it's for engineers, but it's still an MD file that we all can review and agree on. And for each feature, I build it so that we can all know what is going in the code. And then it was simple. Then I gave these specs and it generated the whole app, which is this app, which I can show you. So that built this app, and we published this app, of course. And this app has pretty much everything that you need. It has the signups, that it has two-factor authentication. We can add single sign-on also if that's a requirement for your team. And then I can see insights on these contracts. I can see the data. I can ask questions. And all this is built in like 2 to 3 hours. But it's backed by specs and a high-level design, which all the teams can understand and agree on. And the next iteration is also incremental and not rewritten. Good. So that's my answer, or that's my system for solving coding problems.
I have
Just
a
give
couple
me,
questions on that.
yeah, wait, Mahesh, and then maybe we can take questions. Once I'm done, give me like 5 more minutes, and then we can go through. So what are the resources? If you want to grow into this world and build these apps, which are production ready, I highly recommend you to watch this video, which is how to do vibe coding and challenges. Then this video, which allows you to build design systems. And then this 2 videos, which allows you or walk you through step by step to build labs or build spec-based development rather than doing vibe-based development. Okay, so the whole lab is here. It's completely free. You can go through step by step and make it happen. And we have given even details, and we have tested this app with our community and people who have taken the course. So it does work. Okay, so these are the resources. So just to summarize, coding out of box is good for vibe coding stuff, but not working in production for 3 reasons. And you can fix that with spec-based development. Here is a lab which allows you to build production-ready systems with awesome designs, improve your vibe coding stuff, and build it in a way that all the teams can contribute and learn from. Okay, great. Last thing, if your apps have an AI agent in them, then you have even hard problems, or building the harness is part of your app. Like I wanted to build that app on risk management. Then the risk piece is an AI piece. And if you want to use Claude Code to build your AI components, then AI needs much more sophisticated tools, or this harness building, like how to manage knowledge, how to add memory, how to connect different tools, and how to put guardrails or evaluations. For that, our recommendation or our system is use AI Foundry. And in that AI Foundry, I walk you through in this lab that how can you create. So AI Foundry is Azure way of allowing you to create. And by the way, none of this is sponsored by Azure. One day they should sponsor all of what I'm selling for them. But today I'm just evaluating, and I found this one better. So I'm just selling it or giving it to you. But the idea is that you can create an agent by just going to AI Foundry, and then you can come here and you can say start building an agent. You can provide your name, which let's say test already exists, 1, 2, 3. And then they have awesome nuggets around building stuff and shipping it in production. So what they have is that you can create your agent, you can enable voice mode, which is a cool way to show or interact with your agent, but that's not the coolest thing. The coolest thing is that you can put your instructions and you can click this button to improve instructions. So you can just say, build an agent that allow me to find risks in a user uploaded contract.
Mahesh, are
Right?
you sharing any screen right now?
Look at that. You got, yes, I am sharing and everybody can see it.
Yes.
It's like, I was like worried that all this for last 20 minutes, nobody can see my screen and I'm talking about a screen.
We can see
Maybe
it,
you need
but
to fix.
there are some but there are some annotations on the screen. I think people annotated by Zoom. If you can clear your screen, I would be thankful.
Yeah, I think a reload should do that. You're seeing these lines, right? I thought I am seeing these lines only,
No,
this
I
line
think
and this line, right?
that's by Zoom, not by Chrome. So by
Oh,
Zoom, you need to clear your screen.
maybe I stop sharing and share again. Is that what the best way?
Yeah, that should solve as well.
Okay, share again. Stop
Sorry,
share.
the GitHub link that you have shared, the repo that you said it's free, that doesn't work. It gives an 404 error.
Yay, awesome.
God damn it.
Just put
Yeah, I
the
believe
link.
someone just shared it and it's working now.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's the beautiful part of working in a community that knows what we are doing. But thank you. Thank you for pointing. If you complain that in error optimization, please try again. Okay, because I pressed the refresh button or not. But what you can start with a very simple instruction, and then it will optimize it to build the persona or the system prompt for this harness. And then it has the capabilities to go attach knowledge and attach memory, attach tools, and all this can be done, obviously, since like the foundry is also also have bugs. It's not only four from us, but the whole optimizing thing in foundry can be down. But the idea is that you can start with a very simple prompt, and it goes and tries to build or make it sophisticated for you. So if you look at this agent, which I built, I created a simple prompt, and then it created it like, what is my role, what is my goal, what is my context, what the actions I need to go take. So it goes and tries to improve or write this. I can improve these instructions, but then I can connect different tools. So we talked about harness creation, right? The harness has tools out of box. It can have web search, it can write code for you, but you can add any tool that Microsoft internally has, or you can create your custom tools by connecting any MCP server or your own company's APIs or your own company's databases to it. Okay. So now you can have an easy way to connect tools. Knowledge is other interesting fact that allows you to create different knowledge bases. So here you can connect your data, your company data. You can also add Azure AI search. You can also add web as a source. So you can create web. And now I can just say, hey, just for everything, also go and take a reference from web. I can go and create this Fabric IQ, which is basically a Snowflake version of Microsoft. So now I can put all my emails, all my all my transcripts and everything. And the beautiful part about this work IQ is they're trying to create a graph of how the Copilot is getting used inside the company and generating a wiki behind it. And now you can augment everything that your company has also as context by just attaching this work IQ graph. And there is much more to it. So you can build or just provide these, and they will take care of building the right context for you. Once you have done that, you can set up your guardrails. They allow you to create outside integrations that you can go, which they have gone and done these prompt injections, different third-party controls that they have gone and integrated with, or they have provided their own guardrails or own list of evaluators that you can go and pick from. So, hey, I want to make sure that the content doesn't have risk, harm, it doesn't have sensitivity, it doesn't have drift. You can check for these, or you can create custom guardrails also, which is your own evaluators. So now you can say, I want to apply to this agent. And then you can say, these are my guardrails I want to apply, and you can review and apply this. Or you can create your custom guardrails also. Memory also. This is like you just create memory and they will handle long or short-term memory for you. So you can just connect the memory, and then you can run different evaluations. You can create or fine-tune your models. I'm not going to do all of that today. But the idea is that as you have created or as you want to build AI stuff, build it inside Foundry. And here is the lab that allows you to do that. Then we have a lab which allows you to go and create your own Claude as a front-end app and connects Foundry for all things AI. So you can bring both of them together. That's the real system that you want to ship. And I know that there's a lot of things that I landed today, but I wanted to give you an overview or an idea on where we stand and what it takes to succeed in this world, what kind of secrets people are expecting from you, what are the signals that where we stand, and what are the systems you need to go or learn or build to succeed in this world. Next, I will talk about evaluation, observability, and red teaming. That's coming in our next session. If you have not signed up, please sign up. Here we will talk about the ROI problem, and I will talk about how, as a product manager and engineers, you need to put observability to price your product better and show continuous ROI rather than just building agents for the sake of agents. I want to show or build or show you how can you build agents on a very specific thing. Today was a broad session. This will be a narrow session on seeing only ROI challenges and how, as product managers or engineers, you can go and close the gap of ROI in these agentic systems. That's our next session. After that, I will talk about Azure AI Foundry and how to set up or build these agents and do evaluations on them. So that's coming next. Those are the next two sessions. And if you thought that there's just a lot that happened in this session, then we have a course that you can take and we can spend 5 and 6 weeks together. And I'm happy to give you 30% off because you stayed back and listened to me all along. And if I know that getting into a course can be a hard deal, so if you want to book a call, here's a link. We'll put it in chat. You can talk to our team. They will be happy to explain. They will be happy to evaluate where you stand. Is the course even good for you or not? There's no obligations to sign up. If you want to understand what happens, and I know that there might be more things that you want to learn, so I'm opening few slots for my team to go and talk to you. So book a call and we will be happy to talk through our resources in this session or beyond and give you free session access or also walk through the course if that's an interest for you. This is our Substack. Please join to stay updated on all the courses or all the free sessions I do. This is a single source of truth, and we will share the recording, the transcripts, the learning from this session and every session on this Substack. With that said, I want to just say thank you for staying with me. I'm happy to take questions around any of these three sections. In summary, we talked about where we stand today. We talked about how coding is broken and how to fix it. We talked about if you need to build harness or if you're building agents with building apps which has an AI component on an AI agent in it, then just Claude Code is not going to cut it. You need some kind of a framework. And I gave you one framework which we have tested and kind of works, which is AI Foundry, and gave you enough labs on that. So these are the topics. And if you have